Well, good morning everybody. I'm Gary, I'm the attitude adjuster. So basically, all you young people, you want to keep your eyes and ears open for when opportunities come along, okay? Just turn this off for a sec while I talk to you. Okay. So basically, in some of our operations, we have deals with friends. You create friendships and things like that. So we do a lot of garage door repairs, repairs to motors and stuff like that. The supply companies that we buy motors off don't have any interest in doing a lot of stuff, so they throw an enormous amount of stuff out. So when I get in good with the friends that I have there, they say, oh yeah, you know, if you want to grab anything out of the bin, it's yours. So when you look at stuff like this, okay, this is all old superseded stuff. This is an old trolley of mine for wheeling doors around. But when you look at the stuff, a lot of these old motors, they don't make parts for anymore. So I go through and I salvage them and I pull the parts apart out of them and that. But you know, it embarrasses the heck out of Jolie because I dive in the dumpster and I rummage through the dumpster and I come out with all sorts of bargains and different things. Now these guys are electricians by trade. They're proper certified electricians, where I'm just a restricted electrical license. So when you go through a lot of this stuff, it's very good for scrap steel. So you know, you can subsidize your income and earn a bit extra cash, and you know, once or twice a year, it's a reasonable amount of money by anybody's standards for your pocket money, and you might want to put a party on for everybody or something like that. And that's where I generate some of this you know, little bit extras on around in things, and then I get the spare parts for the operators I want. And that's my point, is just keep your eyes open, because sometimes these little deals with people that you get to know become lucrative little bits and pieces. But here is the kicker with it, okay? If you take the motors down just like all that, just take all that down, right? They just give you the cheapest price that they can give you, the cheapest scrap metal price, okay? If you take the motors out, right, so I've got to take the parts apart anyway for the things that I want out of them, so I'm in there anyway taking them apart. But motors, transformers, they're all basically classed as the same thing, and they are quite good to collect. The price on those is a huge amount more than what it is for the steel and the other things. Plus, in a lot of these operators, they're using aluminium for different pieces. So if I throw that aluminium in with the other stuff, I get next to nothing for it, because they just say, oh, it's dirty steel price, and that's what you get paid for it. So that's the kicker, is knowing when just doing a little more work earns you a lot more in the long run, and you can help the other people out by having cleaned out their bin with certain things, and you can have helped yourself out by earning some extra pocket money. And some of these things become quite reasonably lucrative little things that you can do. But surprising with these guys, they do some strange things at times. I've learnt not to trust a lot of the stuff that ends up in the bin. You know, there's a lead there. This is their lead. Lead comes through the system and it's thrown out, and all it's missing is the plug on the end. Now normally in all these things you don't take things for granted. Now this is a fluke tester, okay, so a multimeter tester. So with that, if I touch that to the other electrode, I can tell that that's got continuity through it, so the wire through the thing is correct, okay? So this is a little bit hard to film and show you what I'm trying to talk about here. This is where we cleaned out our ute when we blew up the engine, and there's stuff all over the floor here. So if I test that wire there, I know that the earth wire is good right through the lead. Now what could be a problem is if those wires have been cut somewhere else and two wires, like your positive and your active, are breaching across each other. So go through your other two wires and just test them, okay? Now there's no electricity in any of this, don't ever do any of that, okay? So it's just testing continuity. So there's no breaks in the wire joining onto the other wires, and I've already done the other two wires already, but I thought I'd just show you that, because in a lot of these things you know, you can pick up some extra money. In some ways it's, you know, if one of the wires was crossed over to the other one, then it would be on all of the wires that it would be breaching across, or two of the wires. So because I've already checked through each and every one of those, we know that they're not on the other one. So, you know, that's active that I'm on there now, neutral on the blue, and the earth wire. So, you know, I know that that lead's good. All I've got to do is put a plug on the damn thing and I got a good lead. You know, it's just it's good. You know, it's good for me. Like I was, you know, you want to say it's a little bit wasteful from the other perspective, but it works for me. I get to dumpster dive and pick up these bits and pieces that are worthwhile. But some of the stuff I found in the bin, you know, is quite extraordinary, and there's actually nothing wrong with it. I don't know, you know, I don't know how or why they've thrown it out, but anyway, that's not for me to bother with. So yeah, you know, pick up little bits and pieces that you can. We're just doing a dump run and, you know, sorting out a heap of rubbish that we've accumulated outside here. That's the trouble, you know, the trailers end up being tied up with other stuff, and then you don't get to take the rubbish to the dump that needs to go, and it piles up until it gets to be too much of a nuisance, and you need to deal with it. And that's basically what we're doing. So there's the new rake in the daylight where you can see it better. You got to give her a clean up, although, you know, I expect she's pretty good by the looks of most of the things. There's some flaky rust on different things, but that's always pretty much there anyway. So yeah, so we'll need to get that off the trailer, but I'm just trying to get some of this cleaned up so the wife's a bit happier with not so much rubbish around, and I can actually get to the sheds. You know, all these motors I've been stacking up here to get around to pulling them apart, but I just haven't got back to it. Jolie and I have been so busy, you know, we'll go and cut firewood and stuff like that, and, you know, jobs just pop up and then you don't get back to doing the stuff. They get buried and the grass grows through them, so that's what we're going through with things since we've moved in. But yeah, that's just a little bit of a tip there for you. Scrap metal and all those sorts of things are very lucrative things, but a lot of times it's about breaking them down and taking the motors out, taking transformers, taking copper wire where that's applicable. All those sorts of things are a big deal when you're taking scrap metal in, because a lot of the companies won't do the right thing by you. They won't tell you, that you could have made a lot more money if you had have separated them into different piles. We just have a few different drums and we toss what we have to in each drum. So when you get to the other end, they just weigh that specific drum and then pay you out for the right amount of money for those items that you've got. So anyway, thanks very much for dropping in. That's just a quick one. I just thought I'd share that with you. And hopefully some of you might get some extra money somewhere along the line figuring some of those things out. Okay, I'm Gary, I'm the Attitude Adjuster. My son Joel just walked through before. Thank you very much for popping in, and please subscribe, please like our videos, and suggest any things that you'd like to see that we could do for you. Thank you very much, bye bye.